The clash between the United States men's national team and Australia at Seattle Stadium was an absolute thriller, keeping fans on the edge of their seats from the opening whistle to the final seconds of stoppage time. This high-stakes encounter, played under a blazing summer sun in front of a packed, electric crowd, delivered relentless physical battles, magnificent goals, and a late-game eruption of raw emotion. It was a football match defined by intense tactical structures, quick transitions, and moments of pure panic that ultimately saw the hosts secure a critical breakthrough in their major international tournament campaign. The match kicked off with a stunning development, even before the referee blew the opening whistle, as star forward Christian Pulisic was officially ruled out of the starting lineup due to an unexpected fitness issue. The responsibility shifted heavily onto the shoulders of manager Mauricio Pochettino, who had to reconfigure his tactical attacking layout without his primary creative weapon. Stepping onto the pitch, the USMNT attackers looked exceptionally hungry and immediately initiated an intense, aggressive press deep in the opposition territory. The red and white shirts swarmed the Australian backline, knocking the ball around with high fluidity and forcing the Socceroos to drop back into a deeply packed defensive shape. The match completely burst to life in the 11th minute after a furious sequence that caught the Australian defense entirely flat-footed and shifting in a desperate panic. Fuller and Balogun orchestrated a brilliant, lightning-fast attack on the flank, using his explosive acceleration to completely destroy his marker in open space. Driving with absolute authority into the penalty area, Balogun scanned the box and whipped a venomous, low cross across the face of the goal toward a charging Ricardo Pepi. Caught in a frantic, desperate recovery split second, Australian defender Cameron Burgess lunged to intercept the ball just 3 yards out from his own goal line. In a moment of absolute heartbreak for the visitors, Burgess's desperate touch accidentally redirected the ball straight past his helpless goalkeeper, Patrick Beach, and rippled the back of the net. The stadium erupted into absolute raptures as Balogun and Anthony Robinson raced to the corner flag to celebrate the opening breakthrough. It was a catastrophic defensive nightmare for the Socceroos, but the perfect catalyst for the Americans, who had established total control of the tempo. Australia sought an immediate answer just a minute later to silence the home crowd. Matthew Leckie made a clever, diagonal off-the-ball run across the top of the box, gathered a dinked pass over the defense, and unleashed a ferocious strike with the outside of his boot that missed the far post by a matter of inches. As the first half progressed, the physicality of the match escalated significantly, turning the pitch into a highly contested battleground. The midfield became a brutal area where Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie constantly collided with Australia's central unit. Jordan Boz received a yellow card after a hard hand to the face of McKennie, while referee Felix Zwayer found himself regularly managing a series of late, bruising tackles from the Australian side. Tensions boiled over in the 37th minute when a heavy aerial collision between Alex Freeman and Okan Engsler left both players collapsed on the turf. Deep anxiety rippled through the stadium as medical staff rushed onto the field for an extended concussion assessment, with Freeman spending several minutes on the sideline, receiving urgent attention. Just when it appeared Australia would successfully reach the intermission trailing by only 1 goal, Freeman delivered a historic and heroic response. In the 43rd minute, Serginho Dest found a pocket of free space, 22 yards out, and unleashed a blistering, thunderous strike toward the target. The venomous shot took a heavy deflection off a yellow shirt, ballooning into the air. Freeman, reading the play with elite instincts despite his earlier knock, launched himself forward to connect with a precise, clinical header that flew past the helpless goalkeeper into the back of the net. An agonizing VAR review for a potential offside momentarily silenced the arena as the officials checked the tech graphics. However, when the referee pointed to the center circle, confirming Freeman was comfortably onside, the stadium gave way to raw heartbreak for Australia and pure joy for the home crowd. The United States walked into the tunnel with a dominant 2-0 cushion and an imposing 69% of the total possession, leaving the Australian squad completely stunned under the evening sun. The second half began with Australia making a sweeping triple substitution, introducing fresh attacking talent like Nestori, Irankunda, Kusini Yengi, and Connor Metcalf to inject maximum speed and directness into their transition play. The tactical layout shifted immediately as the Socceroos ramped up their press, forcing American goalkeeper Matt Freese into several nervy, hurried clearances outside his penalty box. Irankunda proved to be a constant menace on the wing, exploiting spaces left behind by the overlapping Anthony Robinson and forcing vital interventions from central defender Chris Richards, who put on a defensive masterclass to protect the clean sheet. Despite mounting pressure and a series of dangerous corner kicks from Australia, Pochettino's side maintained their structural discipline and ignited a massive explosion.
The USA
of pure
comfortably
joy
completed
across
long
Seattle,
sequences
breaking
of
passes
tense,
in the midfield,
stubborn deadlock
looking to
to hand the
completely
United
take
States
the sting
a critical
out of the
breakthrough
Australian
late in the
resurgence.
first half.
As the clock
After a
ticked
highly
into the final
competitive,
10 minutes,
physical
the American
opening
manager
period,
officially
featuring
called
a brutal
off the
aerial
attack,
battle,
subbing
and a
on
brief
defensive
medical scare for
reinforcements
Freeman
like Austin
himself.
Trusty and
The
Joe
match
Scally
completely
to
burst
lock
to
down the
life in the
flanks and
43rd
seal the
minute.
victory.
The USA
However,
orchestrated
the
a
football
brilliant,
match was pushed into
lightning-fast
total
build-up
chaos
that
in the
culminated
88th
in
minute.
Serginho
Malik
Dest
Tillman
unleashing
drew
a
a tactical
tactical
foul to slow the 2-yard strike that caught the Australian
but away from the
backline
ball,
completely
Fuller and
static.
Balogun
Freeman
finally
read the
lost
play
his
with elite
patience
instincts
after enduring a
sprinting
night
into
of
the penalty
relentless
area,
physical
just as
marking
the
from the
venomous
shot
Australian
was
center
deflected.
backs.
Without a
Balogun
single second of
initiated
hesitation,
contact with Harry
he launched
Southtar
himself forward
and the towering
and delivered
Australian
a
defender
precise,
completely
clinical
snapped
header
under the
that
provocation.
flew past the
In a
helpless
wild,
Australian goalkeeper
unadulterated
and rippled
outburst
the
of
back
rage,
net.
even as a
Southtar
tense
grabbed
VAR
Balogun,
review
locking him in a
threatened to quiet
shocking
the stadium
chokehold
over
right on the
potential
pitch.
offside
Players
calls.
from both
the
benches
referee's
and the
official
field
confirmation
converged
to sent the
furious,
arena into
pushing
absolute
scrum
rapture
as the stadium
and left
gasped
Australia
in
completely
complete
stunned
disbelief.
under the evening sun.
The television
What are your
cameras
thoughts
captured
on
that
that
crazy
absolute
first
explosion
half.
of anger?
Let me know in the
as
comments
coaches and
below.
staff tried to separate the warring factions. Referee Zweyer took immediate command of the pitch, brandishing a flurry of yellow cards to Southtar, Balogun, and Anthony Italiano to forcefully restore order. The final whistle blew after 6 intense minutes of stoppage time, concluding a high-octane battle that highlighted the fierce competitive drive and raw drama of the international stage, leaving the United States victorious in a truly unforgettable encounter. The structural breakdown of the match revealed a fascinating tactical chess game between Mauricio Pochettino and Tony Popovic. In the early exchanges, the United States utilized a fluid 4-3-3 formation that seamlessly transitioned into a 3-4-3 during possession phases, with Antonee Robinson pushing incredibly high up the left flank USA have the prolific almost as a true massive winger. Explosion this tactical adjustment erupted Australia's fullbacks deep into their own half, highly neutralizing start to hand the Americans a critical breakthrough early in the first half. McKennie's clever movements burst to life from the right channel into central spaces created overloading over the middle, which completely dismantled Australia's Fuller and Balogun orchestrated the brilliant Australia struggled significantly with their transitional using his electric pace to completely beat his man on the flank. Their reliance on long absolute authority into the penalty area. Southtar he caught the Australian backline shifting in Chris Richards and Tim Ream whipped a dangerous low ball across clean up the second balls with Australian defender whenever Australia tried to implement a high intensity mid just 3 yards out. Balogun's lateral movements opened up passing the ball into Yunus Musa and Tyler Adams to exploit, sending the stadium into absolute quick turnaround and leaving Australia keeping the ball strictly in the American, attacking third and starving the Australian forward line of any service. The defensive execution from the USMNT in the second half was an absolute clinic in game management. Faced with Australia's aggressive tactical shifts and the introduction of rapid wingers, the American backline dropped into a resilient, highly disciplined low block. Tim Ream's veteran leadership was on full display as he continuously organized the defensive line, ensuring that gaps between the center backs and fullbacks a tense hush fell over Seattle Stadium as Alex Freeman, despite a few shaky moments threatening to derail the United States momentum, showed exceptional command of his penalty following a highly competitive to claim physical aerial duel in the under heavy duress from the Australian Freeman suffered a brutal when Australia threw caution to the wind in the final 15 minutes. Pushing Southtar forward as an auxiliary striker to maximize their height advantage, the USMNT responded by matching their physical intensity. Every single defensive clearance was contested with absolute ferocity, and the midfield unit worked tirelessly to track back and cover the half spaces. This relentless defensive grit completely nullified Australia's desperate long ball strategy, ensuring that despite the chaos and late-game physical altercations, the American clean sheet remained entirely unblemished as the match reached its